Our Bodies, Our Sports events. Very excited to do it. The first thing I asked was, but can I wear athleisure? And they said, yes, you may. And I said, I am in. I am so in. So I'm very glad to be here and doing that. So I want to tell you a little bit about why I care about this issue, why I care about Title IX, why I care about the anniversary, and all of you guys and your involvement. I was a female athlete. I played in high school and college, mediocrely, but it mattered to me. It mattered in my life, in my leadership skills, and the friendships I made. My great-grandmother was an athlete. She played in 1915 on her high school basketball team. My grandmother, her daughter, was also a basketball player on her high school team in the 1920s and 30s, late 20s. And my dad's mother as well, on the other side. She was very proud of her jump shot. So I come from a whole family of it, and now I have three daughters. So some of you moms out here, if you want to consult with me on how to survive the teen years, I would appreciate tips. But the idea that in between my mom and me, who was also an athlete, the fastest woman I ever knew, in between my mom and me, there was this revolutionary change, Title IX, that gave me all these opportunities. And I rarely thank the federal government or the Congress for doing anything right, but I did. Okay, hats off. The idea that that would now be changed, not by Congress, but just by whim, to mean something entirely different, to then work against the opportunities my daughters have, is just straight crazy to me. So thank you for being here to speak out. It really takes brave women to do it. And it seems crazy that you have to be brave to do it, but you do. And the bold, amazing athletes that are here with me are gonna do that today. It is National Women's Sports Week. All of you here today, and all of you tuning in online, by the way, hashtag Our Bodies, Our Sports. Independent Women's Forum and Independent Women's Network registered National Women's Sports Week to take place annually during the week of June 23rd to coincide with the anniversary of Title IX. It's a beautiful moment, and another beautiful moment is that I get to introduce one of my college sports nemesis. As a University of Georgia Bulldog on the lacrosse team, I played against Victoria. These ladies are all gonna speak to you. Victoria, Adriana, and Jennifer. First up, Victoria, have at it.
All right, good morning. And let me just say first, she was not mediocre, right? We played her. Georgia was one of our hardest teams. And I'm very proud that we actually were on the same all-star team together. So we played with each other at least once, maybe twice. So thank you all for being here. I'm the Vice President of Communications at Independent Women's Forum, Independent Women's Voice, and Independent Women's Network. If you're not following us, I hope you do. We're here with a number, you can see all of our sponsors on the side, a number of fantastic organizations, all fighting for the same thing. We're coming across the aisle, and this is a no-brainer. Women's sports should remain female. I am a former athlete myself. I started playing at the young age of 5. Went on to and really took a liking to lacrosse. Stick with that. I will say I have a daughter who just turned 7, and I was her lacrosse coach for the past 2 years. So I'm out here for her and for all the other aspiring female athletes, current and future. But I will say 50 years ago, Congress passed Title IX, as you heard Mary Catherine say, to ensure equal opportunities for both sexes. Yes, 2, man and female. Now, in the name of inclusion, women and girls are being asked to step aside, become spectators in our own sports. Ridiculous, right? What's worse is women who object are being gaslighted. They're being told to keep quiet, shut up, and threatened with retribution. Awful, right? I agree. Today, on the 50th anniversary of Title IX, we're going to hear from a number of these brave women speaking out. Women who have been robbed of championships and opportunities to compete, and women who have been told to sit down, shut up, and just deal with it. Well, let me tell you something. They're not. We've got a lot of brave women behind waiting to speak with you. And I want to make sure that all of us stand behind them and the future athletes that are going to stand out and speak up about how unfair this is. They're doing great work. We know they're going to make big headways. We're going to take back Title IX, and we're going to keep women's sports female. We are not too far. There's a big white house behind me. We know the man that's currently living in it. And we are expecting some looming regulations coming out. And we hope our elected officials, especially the person who's in the White House, hears us loud and clear today. We hope they listen to all the voices that are going to be speaking with you all today. And we hope they take action and reverse what they're about to do to keep women's sports female. And I want to introduce one of my colleagues, Jennifer Fischer. She is the director of our Independent Women's Law Center. And we are so proud to have her on stage with us today. Thank you.
Hi everybody, I'm Jennifer Fischer with Independent Women's Law Center, and even though I'm just a lawyer, I know that you do not need a degree in biology to know what a woman is. And to know that female bodies are fundamentally different than male bodies. That is why we have separate divisions for male and female sports to begin with. Unfortunately, the gender ideologues who are today inhabiting the administration want to undermine this basic premise that male and female bodies are different and therefore they compete in different divisions. They want to undermine it by allowing any male who identifies as a woman to compete on women's teams. Now, Megan Rapinoe might think that your daughter's volleyball team isn't important. No! But we know that it is. And I want to ask Megan Rapinoe, who fancies herself a feminist, how many girls need to lose spots on varsity volleyball teams? How many women and girls need to be injured by male body athletes on girls volleyball teams? How many girls need to lose championships or a lane in the pool or a spot on the team before Megan Rapinoe thinks that your daughter's volleyball team is important? And speaking of volleyball, my colleague Adriana McLam was a Division I volleyball player at Florida International, and she now coaches young women and girls in that sport. So she has a thing or two she might want to say to Megan as well. Adriana.
Hi, thank you so much for the introduction and the perfect segue talking about volleyball. I have to say it, volleyball, high school volleyball athletes matter. High school female athletes matter. Your daughters matter. Okay. As Jennifer mentioned, I am a former Division I athlete at Florida International University. I was AAU All-American, and I played at the international level. But now it's my job to coach junior athletes aspiring to play at the next level. My job is to get them recruited, to have them seen by colleges, and they are losing opportunities because we are not doing enough, and we're going to continue to do more to fight to keep female athletes. It's awesome to be here sharing the stage with so many female athletes, parents of female athletes, coaches, and advocates for women's sports. Today marks not only the 50th anniversary of Title IX, but the largest gathering of female athletes to protect women's sports, and we are so happy to see women from across the political aisle coming together to stand up for more female athletes to continue this sport. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. We've got a stellar lineup of speakers today. Like I said, really brave women. And first up, and look, did they stack the beginning of this with my old college rivals? Sure. Is it a test? Maybe. But I know that women from different sides of the aisle and all over the country can come together on this, and so a bulldog and a cat can come together on this. I want to bring up Riley Gaines Barker. She just graduated from the University of Kentucky, where she swam on the women's team. She's one of the strongest collegiate swimmers. In fact, she's an All-American, a 12-time All-American. This past year, she qualified for the 2022 NCAA Championship. She's also swum against Leah Thomas. She and Thomas tied for 5th when they swam in the 200 free. The trophy went home with Thomas, not Gaines. Unlike many of the female swimmers in the SEC and Ivy League, Gaines had the full support of her school to speak out, and she's here to do so today. Come on up, Riley, let's cheer for her. Thank you, guys. First, I'd like to start by thanking Independent Women's Forum for having me here and providing me with this opportunity to speak for myself, as well as all other athletes who have felt silence amidst this issue facing unfair competition and rule makers that have completely disregarded women. Like they said, my name is Riley Gaines. I just recently graduated from the University of Kentucky, where I swam on the swim team and was able to finish my career as a 5-time SEC champion, an SEC record holder, a 12-time NCAA All-American, and a 10-time Kennedy Charles qualifier. But being successful at such an elite level is and a lifelong
point is, if we're not pro-women, women's athletics is going to get destroyed. And we're not going to have it, and that's why we're here. We didn't spend 50 years of making progress just to make regressive go backwards. We're not doing it in these Riley games. Happy Sunday! Riley, I know you can hear me back there. Keep using that voice. Keep championing future swimmers across the country. Speaking of badass women, our next speaker has been competing in the male-dominated sport of skateboarding. Skateboarding! I have not been on skateboards, but this woman is amazing. She's been doing it for many years. Now it's coming back to the division that encourage other women there at the skateboarding competition in December, that it's not true. So I want you guys to put a big warm welcome for skateboarder Taylor Silverman.
It was so shocking. During the event, I was too uncomfortable to speak up, and the first two times I experienced this, along with each time I heard about it happening in my sport, I just assumed that everyone would understand how clearly unfair it was, and then eventually would just continue. But after Red Corner shown the guilt I felt for not speaking up,
probably going to put her up like with me. So as you just saw, there are some counter-protesters out there sort of branding themselves as Antifa, anti-transphobic action, actually instead of the flag. But Tulsi Gabbard is down here, so I assume that she'll be speaking soon.
When I found out that I was receiving a scholarship to run Southern Utah University, I was so excited. My dreams were finally coming true. My hard work was paying off. A few months later, I packed up my car, drove across the country, and got to start this new adventure. My freshman year went as you would expect a freshman year to go. I was just trying to figure it out. I quickly learned that to be competitive at this level, you had to learn to balance your academics and athletics. This meant early mornings, running twice a day, running 60 plus miles a week, lifting twice a week, staying on top of recovery, fueling your body properly, all while getting your schoolwork done. What I wasn't expecting was on the first day of my freshman year of practice, our coach told us that we'd be racing a biological male. I remember looking around at my teammates' faces and the complete defeat across everyone's face. We felt as if we were going into a losing race and a losing season. No matter how hard we trained and that we'd be in premier shape, we could face a male runner and have a fair chance of winning. Indoor season was going great. I was running PRs, running faster than I ever had before, and I earned a spot at our conference championship. I was so excited to have the privilege as a freshman to be racing on a relay at our conference championship. My coach had signed me up for the distance medley relay. I ran over, looked at the heat sheets just to see what was going on. I was so excited, and my heart sank when I realized that I would be racing a biological male. And somehow the feeling of dread was worse when I actually saw the male athlete and realized that this was actually going to happen. I remember walking into that arena and the discussion from not just athletes but also spectators was about what was about to unfold in front of us and the unfairness that was surrounding it. It was hard to even focus on the race that was ahead of us because the discussion was just about how unfair it was about to be. I ran the first leg of the race, and I still remember how fast that race went out. Little freshman me got nervous, but we dug down, and I ran with everything that I had in me. And I handed off that baton, and I stumbled onto the infield. On the infield, I started screaming and cheering for my other Southern Utah teammates, and that's when I heard something that filled me with first confusion, then anger, and then complete and total sadness. The words, slow down. In my 14 years of running, I have never heard an athlete tell a coach to slow down. My heart sank. I looked around to see if other athletes had also saw this instruction coming from the coach, and sure enough, there was confusion, anger, and sadness amongst many other athletes' face. And yes, you heard that right. The biological male runner competing in the women's section was told to slow down at a conference championship. This athlete was in 6th place, moved up to 3rd, was then told to slow down, and got 2nd. I heard someone say the other day that we must not only be the role models for this generation, but the heroes for the generations to come. Like the young athletes and future female athletes, we too were once standing in their shoes with our own big dreams and aspirations. So I'm using my voice here today in hopes that future female athletes don't have to. And I hope that they don't have to face a male athlete like I did. And I also would like to add that this event occurred my freshman year, which was in 2020. So that was 2 years ago, and we just now are getting the chance to speak out about this. This has been going on for longer than people realize, and it's time that me and these girls standing back here uses our voice together to create fairness in women's sports. And I pray for fairness, and I pray for equal opportunity. Thank you.
Oh, you guys. Somebody went on a special trip to the dollar store to get whistles to shut me up. But I might have mentioned I have 3 3 daughters, and I work in cable news, and I have never once shut up yet. But this is what folks do when they can't actually make the argument. And they don't want to hear women's stories. Because a lot of people are very uncomfortable when women disagree with them. So get ready to be uncomfortable all damn day. All right, how great are these speakers and athletes? We have up next Team USA Masters track athlete who competed against a biological male in Spain. Her own daughter lost to a male in her first high school track meet. Please welcome Cynthia Monteleone all the way from Hawaii.
I flew in from Maui yesterday, but don't worry, I've had plenty of coffee. I got this. So I don't have a prepared speech today. I'm just going to be speaking from the heart. I'm extremely grateful to be here and to have this opportunity. I want to thank Independent Women's Forum for bringing us all together. And I'm actually supposed to be on my way to my World Championship meet in Finland. However, I am boycotting the meet because they're allowing the same male-bodied athlete to compete that I raced against a couple years ago. So, while we should all have the choice whether or not we want to compete, I'm choosing to not place value in a medal in an unfair competition. What kind of value does that medal hold anyway if the playing field is not fair? So instead I'm here with all of you beautiful people and standing up for not just myself, but the future generations of girls. My daughter is 17 and she also had to race a biological male athlete in her very first high school race in 9th grade. Now I tell her I believe she was the winner of that race, and I want to empower the young girls to keep speaking up and to speak up for our right to a fair playing field. The current administration is putting a nail in the coffin of Title IX, and we have to stand up against this. The founder of Title IX, Patsy Mink, was from Maui, so I celebrate Title IX today and its original intentions, which is sex-based, not gender identity-based. We would like, of course, we would like everybody to have the chance to do sports, but we have to protect the integrity of the fair playing field. So I stand before you today to encourage you to keep speaking up, because I was told after I began to raise questions to keep my mouth shut for my own safety. But however, as you can see, I'm not keeping my mouth shut. I'm speaking louder than ever. Because it's these voices and these stories that you're hearing today that are going to make a difference. I am also a metabolic practitioner. My job is to help Olympians and other athletes optimize their physical performance and their health through things like what food they eat, what supplements they take. So I know my way around science, and science and common sense tells us that even after gender reassignment and hormone therapy, male-bodied athletes still have an advantage over female athletes. This is not just common sense, but the science tells us so. I think that FINA has taken a step in the right direction in swimming to create another category. I'm a bit concerned about the language saying after transition and puberty, because we have to be careful not to push puberty blockers. But it is a step in the right direction, and I hope that the World Masters Association and the World Athletics Committee takes a cue from swimming and starts to make policies that are inclusive to our female athletes. Because right now, they're being excluded, and we cannot allow that. So I just want to say mahalo, thank you all for being here in support of this today. And aloha, I send love and goodness to all of you, and let's just keep speaking up and standing strong.
guest and our next speaker. Well, let me hear you get those clappers out for me. And you guys know this by now, right? Our bodies. Our bodies. Our bodies. Our bodies. All right. All right. You know what? Coaching a team, I coach, right? I use a whistle a lot. Our next guest is no stranger to coaching either. Coaching a team is one of the most demanding and rewarding jobs. Along the way, you're going to experience a wide range of emotions. Beyond the highs and lows of the game to game and season to season, you have the opportunity to play an influential role on those players, both the development, athletically, on and off the field. Next up is a dynamic woman. She's a former Idaho State athlete, had a 15-year career as an NCAA Division I women's basketball coach. She ended up serving in the Idaho House of Representatives, representing the 33rd District, and she was the original sponsor of the Fairness in Women's Sports Act, the first of its kind legislation designed to protect opportunities for women in girls' sports. Since passing this in Idaho, she's testified in many other states that have brought similar bills to the floor. Give it up for a true trailblazer, representative, and coach, Barbara Ehart.
What it was like. I was one of those people born in the 60s. Growing up in the 70s, we didn't have opportunities. I am telling you, people would ask me growing up, what do you want to be when you grew up? And pretty much I could be a mom, I could be a secretary, or I could be a school teacher. And you know what I told them? I said, I want to play sports. And they told me that's not what girls do. Exactly. And so I kept my dreams alive, and little did I know, as an 8-year-old kid, 8 years old in 1972, June 23rd, 50 years ago, when Title IX was passed, it changed my life. It changed my life, people. I kept my dreams alive. I was able to play junior high basketball, high school basketball, went on to play college basketball on a scholarship. I was able to embark on a 15-year Division I women's coaching career. Yes, at 4 fantastic institutions, but here's the thing. Eventually, unless you're Pat Summitt or Gino Auriemma, it's like with coaches, you're either being hired or fired, and my time came and I decided to go back to Idaho. And what did I do? I became a politician, you know, sports. Politician? I don't know. But let me just tell you, in 2018, like you, I was watching with horror what was happening in Connecticut. I was watching 2 biological males take the spots of these gals that are here today. You're going to get to hear from them. Take their spots on the podium, displace them, discourage them, demean them, and tell them they weren't woman enough. And these gals were my inspiration as I'm walking around my neighborhood thinking, somebody should do something about it. Why doesn't somebody do something? And it occurred to me, I'm a representative, I'm a former athlete, I'm a former coach, I'm a lawmaker, I should do something. You're going to hear from him in just a minute, but I want to bring our 3 Connecticut athletes up. I want you to meet Alana, Selena, and Chelsea. Come on up, you guys. Come on up. These are the gals that were being told introduce you to two more people in the state of Idaho. Let me have you come out, Maddie and Katie. Then I had two gals in the state of Idaho join with us in an intervener lawsuit. These two gals had the same kind of courage. Yeah, you're going to hear from them in just a bit. The same kind of courage to step up, stand up, and they deserve all of your credit. These guys were courageous. They set the stage, and I want you to give them a huge round of applause. And before I step off the stage, we need a selfie. Let's keep this going. It's passed in 18 states. We only have 28 more to go. Okay, stay the course. Good job. Thank you.
Hey everyone, our next guest on stage is brilliant and feisty. She's a tremendous advocate for women and girls and knows as much about Title IX as anyone I know. A lawyer and a former Department of Education official, she helped to craft the Title IX regulations that President Biden just repealed today. We need to take back Title IX, and there is no one better to explain why than Candace Jackson.
Thank you. I am so proud to be here today alongside so many women who care about the most important women's rights legislation in education of the last half century. It's not that Title IX doesn't also stand for equal opportunities for boys. Of course it does. But let's be real. Boys generally enjoy the default position of having no barriers to entry or access or participation to the full range of educational benefits and activities based on being boys. Historically, it's been girls and women who have faced exclusion and negative treatment due to being girls and women. This general rule of no longer treating girls negatively compared to boys because of Title IX is the heart of that civil rights law. At the same time, the soul of Title IX has always been its common sense, statutory, and regulatory recognition of the many circumstances where, in order to have genuine opportunities, girls and women need our own spaces and activities. Title IX has always allowed schools to track and record a student's factual sex and to provide some activities separately based on sex, sometimes to protect physical and sexual safety like different locker rooms and bathrooms, sometimes to protect dignity and privacy like separate human sexuality classes, and sometimes for equal opportunities to succeed and achieve like with sports. Thanks to Title IX, generations of girls have grown up taking equal educational opportunities for granted. And you know what? They deserve to take it for granted. Girls deserve to take equality for granted, to not have to give a second thought to whether they'll be allowed to study certain subjects or succeed in certain extracurricular activities just because they're girls. But what happens when we stop recognizing that girls and boys are, well, not literally the same? When it comes to bodies, physicality, sex drive, reproductive role, that there are physical and biological immutable differences between the two sexes that cannot be wished away or legislated away. Women have not been kept out of educational pursuits and public life because we behave or dress in a womanly way. We have historically had educational and social doors closed to us, not because we adopt feminine personalities or because we identify as women, but because we were born members of the female sex, period. When we accept the fantastical notion that being a boy or a girl is a matter of choice, of clothing, of haircuts, of feeling girly or boyish, we drive the discrimination school bus right off the road. If we no longer share the common jumping off point of knowing who are the girls and who are the boys, then overnight Title IX goes from being a powerful tool to level the playing field for girls to being a weapon that actively rips away equal opportunities, safety, and dignity for girls. If we cannot track sex, we cannot keep sexism in our rearview mirror, and none of our daughters deserve that. Thank you.
All right, who's a woman out here? I am a woman. Let me hear it. All right, I see a lot of good signs out there. I've got our bodies, our sports, keep women's sports female. I've got XY does not equal XX. We know there are two sexes. And I will tell you, the next people coming up on stage are female, and they are bold, and they are brave, and they are amazing at what they're doing. All right. So, when a woman takes legal action to stand up for her rights, several of these young women have been sidelined that you're going to hear from next. And they're speaking up. They've been sidelined by male athletes identifying as female and playing in their women's divisions. Our next speaker represents some of these athletes in both the courts and in the court of public opinion. Please welcome Christiana Kiefer from Alliance Defending Freedom!
Hey, good morning! Good morning! Look, Title IX has promised women and girls so much. A fair chance to compete, opportunities to excel at college, and skills that apply to all areas of life. But all of this is being threatened by the unscientific idea that a man can be a woman. Women's sports have been protected for 50 years in our country because we recognize, both as a matter of science and common sense, that males have inherent physical advantages that give them, that make competition between women and men unfair and even unsafe. In fact, it's such a great advantage that in 1 year alone, 275 males beat the best, lifetime best of world championship sprinter Allison Felix. Without a protected women's category, the history books would not even record her name. Yet, here we are on the 50th anniversary of Title IX, again, fighting for the right of women and girls to have their place in sports. I am so proud to be here today with Selena, Chelsea, and Alana, who boldly challenged an unfair Connecticut policy that allowed men to dominate their sports and take away their opportunities from them. And I'm proud to be here today with Madison, Mary Kate, and Lainey, who have stood up to defend their safe women's sports laws against attacks from the ACLU. Women and girls are being told that their achievements and their losses don't matter, that their place on the podium, spot on the field, or championship titles can be snatched away by a biological male simply because he identifies as female. It only takes one man to take away the top spot, 3 to eliminate women from their podium altogether. This is wrong, and it must be stopped. On the 50th anniversary of Title IX, we must do more than celebrate. We must act. If we want a future where female athletes can continue to showcase their talents, be on the podium, win that top spot and those scholarship opportunities, we must protect the integrity of women's sports. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chelsea Mitchell.
Hey guys, my name is Chelsea Mitchell and I'm a former high school track and field athlete from Canton High School, and I was one of the fastest girls in Connecticut. When I lined up in my starting blocks, I should have known that I had a shot at first place. Unfortunately, I was forced to compete against male athletes in the girls category for all 4 years of my high school career. As a result of a state policy that let them compete in girls' sports, I lost 4 state championships and 2 All-New England awards. While this issue is very personal for me, it's not just about me. It's about every young woman who dreams of competing. We should have the opportunity to excel and to chase our dreams. And this can only happen if we can compete on a level playing field. We should be here celebrating 50 years of Title IX protections for women and girls in sports. Instead, we're here because we don't know if those protections will last another 50 years. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Christy Mitchell, Chelsea Mitchell's mother.
Hello, my name is Christy Mitchell and I'm Chelsea's mom. Most parents know what it's like to walk alongside a child who is pursuing a dream, whether that means attending music recitals, school plays, or athletic events. I was there with Chelsea to cheer her across the finish line and celebrate her victories. And I was there to support her when she lost. But when she was unfairly displaced by male athletes on the track, it was hard to find the right words to comfort her when it felt so helpless. We learned we weren't alone. There were other girls and parents facing the same situation, and all of our concerns fell on deaf ears. It's good to know we're not alone in this fight. But it shouldn't have to be this way. My hope is that my daughters won't have to explain to their daughters why winning isn't possible. Thank you.
You guys, our buddies are gone. Honestly, it felt a little short. That's what she said. Are they gonna get mad at me for making dirty jokes? Listen, thank you so much, Chelsea, for your story. The message that she received was, look, at your best, you're not gonna be enough. And that is not a message that I accept for the next generation of women. This next athlete missed qualifying for the New England Track and Field Regionals by 2 spots in her top event. The biological male who won her race set a girls' state record and went on to win the New England titles in the 55-meter dash and the 300-meter dash. Please help me welcome Selena Soul, followed by Alana Smith. They both competed and lost to male runners. Both ladies are taking a stand against policies that allow men to compete in women's sports. Come on up, ladies.
Throughout all 4 years of high school, I was forced to compete against biological males. Sports have been a big part of my life since I was 3 years old. When I won meets, I knew my hard work paid off. But when I lost, I drove myself to train harder to be better. However, going up against biological male athletes who have a natural advantage over us was extremely demoralizing to not only me, my teammates, but all girls in Connecticut and New England. I lost the opportunity to advance to a regional meet and instead was forced onto the sideline in one of my events while I was still there competing in others. We female athletes work incredibly hard to shave fractions of a second off of our times to win, not to place third place and beyond. That's why I'm here today to stand up for all the young girls that Title IX protects and ensure that no one will have to experience the pain and heartbreak that I felt in high school.
Being an athlete is in my genes. My dad, Smith, is an MLB Hall of Fame pitcher. My mom, Cheryl, was a high school track athlete and still runs today. Running with my mom when I was younger taught me how to prepare, train, and focus. With her encouragement, I focused on short distance running where I excelled in middle school, becoming a 3P 100-meter Connecticut state champion. Everything changed when I got to high school where I knew I'd be running against a male athlete. I was defeated before stepping onto the track. No girl should experience this kind of unfair defeat, both physically and mentally. I'm here today to add to the voices of women standing up for level playing field for girls.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Alana Smith's mother, Cheryl Radachowski.
Hello, my name is Cheryl Radachowski and I'm Alana's mom. Like Alana said, sports are very much a part of our family. As a former track athlete, I know that mere fractions of a second matter in a race. I know how important placement is. Running alongside Alana, I got to learn her strengths, her weaknesses, and what motivates her to sprint towards the finish line. There's nothing quite like the feeling of being a part of your daughter's success. There's also nothing like having a front row seat to your daughter's suffering and unfair and crushing defeat. As someone who personally benefited from Title IX, if I had faced the same situation my daughter faced in high school, I don't honestly know if I would have encouraged Alana to be the athlete she is today. No mother should have to face that challenge with her daughter. We need to keep Title IX as it is for the girls. Thank you.
So these young women who are speaking out are extremely brave, but we know they're not the only athletes that have had to face this competition. If you've faced a male athlete in a women's division, we want to hear from you. Share your story at iwf.org/female athlete stories. Next, let's put our hands together for two Idaho State NCAA athletes speaking up for fairness and defending Idaho's Fairness in Women's Sports Act. Welcome Mary Marshall, followed by Madison Kenyon.
Hey guys, we are so happy to be here. I'm Mary Marshall and I'm a competitive track athlete at Idaho State University. Sports have taught me so much, how to endure and persevere, how to work with a team, and how to be a gracious competitor. But it's hard to keep my chin up when I lose to a male athlete, which has happened twice. When I lose to another woman, I assume that she trains harder than I do and it drives me to work harder. But losing to a male feels completely different. It makes me think that no matter how hard I try, my hard work and effort won't matter. I want girls to have the same opportunity to learn the same lessons that I've learned through sports. But they can't learn those lessons if they believe they'll never be good enough. Keeping Title IX protections is important for future generations and past generations.
Track and cross country runner at Idaho State University. My freshman year, I competed against a male athlete who had times on the males team that were faster than the women's collegiate national record. I raced against this athlete 5 times, and each time I was pushed down to a lower placement than what I deserved. As a nursing major, I know how important biological differences are. The state of Idaho passed a law recognizing that the biological differences between men and women are very important in sports. But sadly, activists are trying to stop that law from protecting women's sports. Without Title IX, I would not be here today. Title IX opened a door for me to get an athletic scholarship, which made it possible for me to not only get an education, but pave a path to a future career. That's why I joined a lawsuit to save women's sports in Idaho. And that's why I'm here, to encourage girls everywhere to stand up and demand fair treatment under Title IX.
Along with several other states, West Virginia is taking a stand to make sure women and girls have a level playing field. Our next athlete, Lainey Armistead, played soccer, and she says it's more than just a game to her. She says it's a passion and a life-defining pursuit. Please welcome Lainey.
This is my fight song. Take back my song. happy to be here today. My name is Lainey Armistead, and I'm a former left back for the West Virginia State University soccer team. My dad was a soccer coach, and growing up, I got to play against my brothers and pick up games with the boys' soccer teams. It was a lot of fun, but I knew when they were holding back because they were bigger, faster, and stronger than me. In a contact sport like soccer, it doesn't take much imagination to see how dangerous it is for male athletes to compete against women in a competitive environment. Seeing the courage of the other girls here today and the women gave me the strength to join a lawsuit to protect West Virginia's law that protects women and girls. I was the team captain for my team, which meant I had my teammates' backs. I'm here with a simple message for female athletes protected by Title IX. I've got your back too. Thank you.
Hello again. How's everybody feeling? Sounds good. I want to point you to a resource real quick that's really important. It's at IWF.org. It's called the Competition Report. It came out in 2021, and it goes into all the actual facts about the gaps between male and female athletic performance, because as much as I would like to tell my husband I can beat him in a weightlifting competition, I cannot. And we need to wrestle with that, and we need to be armed with the facts, like that females and males accelerate 20% faster than females, that they have more muscle mass and larger hearts and larger lungs. These are things that people want to ignore. Don't ignore them. From IWF, we have some of our speakers that get this and are fighting for fairness. Coming up, President of the Independent Women's Forum, Carrie Lucas. Followed by Nicole Hudgens, Head of Government Affairs at Family Policy Alliance. Come on up, ladies.
I'm so proud to be here and appreciate everybody for coming out. You know, we've been hearing a lot about an important question: what is a woman? Now, I feel like that's become a bit of a punchline, but everyone here knows that this is no joke. The word woman is mentioned hundreds of times in our legal code, and if we can't define the term woman, then we can't stand up for women's rights, and the legal protections that exist for women are suddenly meaningless. So Independent Women's Forum and Independent Women's Voice teamed up with wonderful groups on both the left and the right to come up with something called the Women's Bill of Rights. The Women's Bill of Rights defines these sex-based terms like women, men, male, female, and shows that they're rooted in biology. And it also codifies the idea that there are times, athletics being one of those times, when we have to have single-sex programs. They are not only legal, they are necessary. So everyone here in this crowd and everyone listening today, please make sure to sign. You need to sign up and show your support. It's womensbillofrights.com. This language was already used for the basis of a resolution in just down the street there in Congress. It's been introduced as a House resolution and a Senate resolution, but we need this to happen in every single state. We need everybody to get involved so that women are not erased from our laws, and that our daughters, my 3 daughters are standing here in this crowd, our daughters, and I'm just so proud of my 2 sons who are also here, and they are standing up, and they know they're standing up for women too. We need to make sure that women are not erased in our laws, and that our daughters and generations of girls to come will have the opportunity and respect that we deserve. So thank you all for coming here today. I'm excited.
How are you doing? My name is Nicole Hudgens, and I direct Government Affairs for Family Policy Alliance. We're a national organization representing hundreds of thousands of Americans who believe in standing and saving girls' sports.
We also work with nearly 40 family policy councils across the nation, men and women who are boots on the ground in their states, who are working to advance family values and save girls' sports, as well as amazing state legislators across the country who are true champions, especially on this issue. And today, on the 50th anniversary of Title IX, we're celebrating what women have done over the past 50 years. But we are also here because women's sports and their opportunities are under attack. Just today, the Biden administration announced that they're going to try to redefine Title IX and take away opportunities from women and girls. But the Biden administration is out of touch with real America. And we must save girls' sports. And real America is saving girls' sports. As you'll see, in 2020, you've already heard from the amazing Representative Barbara E. Hart, who introduced the Fairness in Women's Sports Act in 2020. Then in 2021, 9 states passed Save Girls Sports. And this year, that number doubled. And there are 18 states that have passed Save Girls Sports laws. Arizona, Arkansas, Florida, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Montana, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, and West Virginia. This is huge. And not only that, 3 of those state legislatures, Indiana, Kentucky, and Utah, didn't just pass the law. Their governor tried to veto the bill, and then the state legislatures were able to override those vetoes. And today I have the honor of having my mom here with me in the crowd. And she has fought so hard for my future and for my opportunities. And that's why I'm here today, because I believe in standing for the next generation of America's women. And so we call on every American to join us today to save girls' sports. We call on every American to oppose the Biden rules that will attempt to redefine Title IX. And we call on every American to stand for the future of our girls. Their futures will not be taken away, not on our watch. Thank you.
I am honored to bring up our next speaker. She's a former U.S. representative from Hawaii's 2nd Congressional District and a former 2020 Democratic presidential candidate. She was an original co-sponsor of the Protect Women's Sports Act. She's a proud American serving in the U.S. Army Reserves as a lieutenant colonel and a vocal supporter of leveling the playing field for women and girls in sports. She's a supporter of Independent Women's Forum, the Women's Bill of Rights. Let's hear it for none other than Tulsi Gabbard. Come on up.
Thank you so much. It's so good to be here with all of you as we celebrate this amazing 50th anniversary of Title IX. And as we gather here in celebration of the incredible progress that's been made over decades, I can't help but think of the many women who fought so hard to enact this historic legislation. I also can't help but wonder what they would think about the fact that we would have to gather on a day like this in what now is seen as an expression of courage to say the thing that a lot of these noisemakers and protesters don't want others to hear, which is, wait for it, there is such a thing as a woman. We do exist. It is the height of hypocrisy that as we stand here today, there are those who claim to be feminists, who claim to be champions for women's rights, who are at the very same time simultaneously denying the fact that we exist, denying the fact that there is a woman that is biologically distinct from a man. The Biden administration's actions today are seeking to erase the entire female sex and reject the objective reality that there are biological and physiological differences between men and women. This is the height of disrespect, offense, and what at its core is a hatred for women. Because if you loved women, if you supported us, then you would take a stand for our women and girls. This point about the rejection of the objective reality is important. If a man can become a woman simply by declaring it to be so, then there is nothing that is real. There is nothing that is true. Then anything can go. We've seen 50 years of progress since Title IX. But the future of Title IX, the opportunities that have come about because of it, are at peril because of the actions and policies coming from the Biden administration and Congress's failure to act thus far to protect women and girls in sports. So I am so proud to stand with these incredible athletes who are here today, bringing voice to so many who are unable to exercise their own voice, and bringing voice to kids like my goddaughter Liberty. She is 2 years old and she is a ball of fire. I can't wait to see what she does. We are gathering here today for kids like my friend's daughters, Lara, Ivy, and Lynette, who are competitive wrestlers in Oklahoma, and they are kicking ass every day. It is for them that we take a stand for the truth. It is for them that we take a stand together as Americans, express this call to action to everyone across the country to demand that Congress and the President take immediate action to uphold the original intent of Title IX and protect the lives, futures, and well-being of women everywhere. Thank you for your courage in standing here today. Let's continue to fight for our future. Thank you. Aloha.
It's been a ride. I guess I had to go to that place to get to this one.
Thank you to Tulsi Gabbard for being here. You know, this issue isn't a Republican issue and it isn't a Democratic issue. This is an equality issue. Our next speaker also comes from the leftward side of the political aisle. Kara Dansky is a radical feminist lawyer and president of the Women's Declaration International USA chapter. She's the author of The Abolition of Sex, a book I urge you all to buy. It's a quick, easy read that summarizes exactly everything that's going on today. And she's a wonderful speaker. Please help me in giving a warm welcome to Kara Dansky.
It's great to be here with you all today. Please bear with me, I am losing my voice, so I'm going to do my best. The Declaration on Women's Sex-Based Rights, which WDI USA seeks to promote throughout U.S. law and policy, reaffirms women and girls' sex-based rights and challenges the discrimination we experience from the replacement of the category of sex with that of so-called gender identity. WDI USA is a nonpartisan organization. We are Democrats, Republicans, Independents, and Greens. Speaking solely for myself, I am honored to stand here as a lifelong Democrat to say that I care deeply about maintaining women's and girls' sports for women and girls. Article 7 of the Declaration reaffirms women's rights to the same opportunities as men to participate actively in sports and physical education. Its terms and mandate could not be more clear. Governments must include opportunities for girls and women to participate in sports and physical education on a single-sex basis. Anything else is a form of sex discrimination.
so something sort of interesting, or a couple sort of interesting things. Tulsi Gabbard, the former Hawaii congresswoman and also the vice chair of the Democratic Party at the time, just spoke here at this rally about basically disincluding transgender women from women's sports. Here on the outside of it, there's been this group describing themselves as anti-transphobe action, sort of a spin on the Antifa branding, here that's been kind of banging pots and pans and then going around in a circle around the park, but the police have basically kept them out of the park. So they're about to make another pass and we'll kind of see what happens. title is possible right now if you basically are there to pan from anti-fascist to Tulsi Gabbard.
I didn't even see Tulsi.
Tulsi's right in there.
Oh, she is? Okay. She already spoke.
But she's
No,
still...
I got her to get that.
But yeah, she's chilling in there, so you can. It is possible to frame them together.
Okay.
Thank you all.
All right, give it up for Mom. Mom, thanks so much. I want to tell you guys, last year, Independent Women's Forum had the great pleasure of holding a fly-in, bringing in athletes, female athletes from across the country. We had them meet with numerous, over 24 members of Congress, both in the House and the Senate, to really talk about the risks and what's at stake if we allow males to compete in female athletics. And let me tell you, the risks are great. We've heard about numerous of them today. One of those female athletes is here today. She came all the way out from Oregon, and her name is Inga Thompson. Let me tell you really quickly about Inga. She's an impressive woman as well. She's a 3-time Olympic cyclist. Give it up. And let me tell you, Inga knows firsthand the advantages of Title IX and what it provides. She was competing in cycling back before there were separate women's cycling teams, which means she was in dead heats with male cyclists. Help me welcome 3-time Olympic cyclist Inga Thompson to the stage.
Wow, this is absolutely wonderful to see this outline of support. It really warms the bottom of my heart. Thank you. This has been a tough journey, and part of my story is when I started, I was that odd little kid that I wanted to ride motorcycles, I wanted to ride tractors, I wanted horses, I liked trucks, and I still do. I was that odd child, and growing up it was like, I also wanted to be the best in the world, and I wanted to do it in sports, and I wanted to do it in running, and my mom had to break it to me that we don't have sports for girls. And she told me the really sad story about how she was a ski racer, and sometimes she'd get in there with the guys, and she kind of slip in and get kicked out of the event. And so she had to, she had tears in her eyes telling me, you can't, because you're a girl. And in 72, 50 years ago, Title IX was passed. And I got into high school,
Tulsi had no background.
we had some events.
Oh,
And I got to compete, and
it was kind of coincidence.
I never had any opportunities.
No, I know.
And then I got to go into the Olympics. Yay, great. But
yeah, it was funny that they weren't aware enough of what was going on to stick around, but they continued to cycle.
what I saw was all of the young women around me and how they thrived. Did they get to go to the Olympics? No. But their self-worth, how they felt about themselves. So many came from abused homes and difficult places. And this is where the girls got to bond and how they got together. And several of these women actually did go on to the Olympics in different sports. But this is the basis of elite women's sports, is the grassroots sports. It's Title IX. And this isn't the first fight that I've been in for women. When I make it to the elite level, I still remember being at the World Championships in 1990 and having the head of the International Cycling Union coming to me and stating, we're going to be setting forth a new policy that when you're menstruating,
I just want to keep my
you're not
eyes
going to
just
be
in
able to
case.
race.
Again, they
And my
recognize
jaw was
it's
all
okay.
down. And I looked at him and I said, "What are you doing? How are you doing?
Okay, so to people who are interested, Tulsi Gabbard basically just left. She had spoken earlier during this event. It's kind of interesting. I think it was just sort of coincidence, but the people circling around the event actually kind of like passed the stage right before Tulsi spoke, and so they've been kind of intermittently, audible as the speaker is talking, kind of almost not quite drowning them out, but able to be heard from inside the event. That wasn't the case when Tulsi spoke, and they were also on the opposite end when Tulsi left. And that may have been by design by her security people, who knows. But in any event, I think they're about to make another pass post here. What's kind of interesting is each time they do it, there ends up being a bunch of the folks who are participating in this who want to come and sort of engage with them, and then the police keep them separate. So most of the people right now are inside the event, but you'll kind of see probably that when they arrive here, people will kind of be magnetized to go engage with them. So we'll see what happens. It sounds like they're getting closer. point, I think they're going to keep basically wrapping around and doing the same. So I'm actually going to cut the live stream at this point. I do believe that there's probably a live stream that exists of the speakers if that's what you're more focused on. But for me, I'm going to cut the live stream here. I'll still be out here, so if anything actually happens, I could go live again or record it. But it seems like at least the counter demonstration aspect of this is kind of essentially going around in circles, so the same thing keeps happening. So I'm going to cut the feed for now. Maybe I'll come live again. We'll see. But whatever happens, I will certainly be out here live again tomorrow, as there are expected to be some Supreme Court decisions announced. It's unclear which ones those will be, but a lot of focus right now is on the abortion decision that could be released tomorrow or anytime. So I will plan to be out here with a live stream outside, actually, the Supreme Court, I should say, about a mile away tomorrow, probably about 10 a.m. Thanks for watching.